Consciousness, this awareness that you have about who and what you are, about the things around you, this ability to think or to have a knowingness about you. Consciousness means you're awake, perhaps, some of you at least, or perhaps you're not aware that you're conscious. Perhaps you go through life just doing the routine things. You wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, and repeat that over and over. Now what we propose to you is, if you're doing that on a routine basis, perhaps you are unconscious or semi-conscious. You're not really making an effort to be aware of the things that are happening around you. Every moment you are a creator. You create by the thoughts that you have. You create by your personality. You create by past life experiences. You create by your hopes and desires for future. So consciousness, we propose to you, is being aware of who and what you are on the greater scale, at least we would say to you. That is this mental consciousness, this that you work with, this that you are aware of. Now beyond that, there are other consciousness too. Each one of your body parts, each one of your cells, we propose to you, has consciousness. It sends signals back to this master computer, the brain, that tells you what's going on here. If you touch something, then you have some sensation of going back. It is more than just a feeling thing. It is consciousness in that point that you have touched. So consciousness is all-inclusive. Everything that you are is consciousness. Now you are in one of these physical bodies that has the ability to think, has the ability to be aware, has the ability to reason. All of this is consciousness. And it is more so expressed in this day and time than it has ever been in your past experiences, throughout all of your history, all of your ancestry, all of your past lives, if you buy that. Now you have brought it to a point of awareness like never before. So consciousness, we propose to you, is what you have. But you're not the only one. You have animal life, plant life, that most of you would agree has some degree of consciousness. Perhaps it doesn't reason. Perhaps it doesn't have the imagination that you do, but it is still consciousness. It knows that it exists. It knows when it wakes up. It knows when it goes to sleep. It knows when it's hungry. If it is plant, it has some sensation of growing, having seasonal, we would say, awareness of what it is time to do or what it is time to be, a time for growth, a time for shedding leaves, or a time for dying. Not so much different than you. But what if everything that existed had consciousness? What if consciousness was part of being? What if the sand upon your beaches had consciousness? Perhaps not as aware as you are, but could it be that if it exists because it has some degree of awareness, some degree of being. If you think that is a little bit far-fetched, then we propose to you, what of Mother Earth? You think it has no consciousness? You think it exists as this blue ball in space? And that it has nothing to do other than just to roll around heaven all day? Perhaps it is conscious. Perhaps the things that are happening has to do with consciousness on a greater scale. Okay? Now, from that, the next proposal. What if your consciousness, your species, was not just an individual consciousness, but a mass consciousness, a collective, that allowed you and everyone else to have some intermingling or some connection with the thoughts that you have, the consciousness you have? A little far-fetched, you think? Look at your bird life, your animal life. Have you not ever noticed a flock of birds that fly have a tendency to turn? You think they shout out the instructions saying right or left or up or down? We don't think so. There is some internal connection between those individual consciousness that allows them to operate or to work as a group. It has more to do with their beingness rather than what they're doing. They have a sense of being, let's say, a bird, not just a bird, but particular type of bird has typical ways of being, and there's inner communications about what the things they do and how they are. That's not good enough for you? Have you ever been to an aquarium when you have a school of fish? Notice how they turn and move together? Or have you not noticed one of your films that someone has ventured underwater with a camera to delight you? Notice how the fish move? Mass consciousness, or connected consciousness, we propose to you. Now, if that is so, what is the limit of your consciousness? What is the limit of all consciousness? What if everything that exists in the universe has stardust consciousness? Everything that exists, we propose to you, is stardust, matter. Even this that you consider to be the void, which is nothing there, has a potential to create into materiality, has consciousness. It answers the question to other consciousness, to be whatever it is you wish to propose to enforce life upon. And you as human beings are one of the great painters, the masters of bringing consciousness into existence. And yet most of you simply think that nothing ever happens for you, that you are impotent creators. The reality is every thought that you think is creative. Your biggest problem is that you have one thought that is creative and you have a second thought that follows that usually is full of doubt that says, this is ridiculous, or I can't do that. So you neutralize all of your thoughts of creation. But it is a consciousness. A strange thing happens, though, do you not notice? In your last 100 or 200 of your years, there is a collective consciousness that has been able to create material things like never before, to make life easier for you, or perhaps not easier, but at least more entertaining. You have created airplanes and automobiles, boats, ships, like never before. You have managed to move yourself around the world in just a matter of hours. So that consciousness is still developing, still creating, and you will find that you keep finding more and more ways to delight yourself, more and more ways to be more creative. So what is consciousness, if not you? You are perhaps the greatest creator by your consciousness than you have ever acknowledged before. It is now a time and a place and an ideal to imagine what you would like to have for your future, how you would like the world to be, how you would like to be. And we suggest to you that you start creating by the consciousness that you are. Love this being that you are. Love your experiences. Then you begin to spread out. You begin to, we would say, materialize. And the only way that you will ever create by your consciousness is simply by loving that. By loving, you decide to be that consciousness. So we wish you great experiences in your consciousness. We challenge you to see that what we are saying has some sense of reality to it. You make it real by your thinking, by your consciousness. You are perhaps the most intelligent life, at least that you can conceive, on this plane. Even those in a third world country that seems to be underdeveloped still have that consciousness. All they have to have is a little bit of incentive, a little bit of reason to become more conscious. And that is what we're trying to do, is to give you and everyone that exists awareness of how great this consciousness that you are has. Your ability to create, your ability to be aware, your ability to love, your ability to put yourself in the place that you wish to be. We are Alexander.